3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is Soft Body. This is a meditative bullet dodging game. Go through some of the mechanics. You have your soft body, which is your yellow body, and your ghost body, which is the red body that's floating up there right now. They each do different things. Your main body paints walls, defeats certain enemies, and if it gets hit, then it dies, and you have to start the level over. Your ghost body defeats most of the enemies in the game. It can phase through walls. It pushes these orbs along their paths. And if it gets hit, it just returns to you, and you're totally fine. First few levels are just introductory, showing off some of the mechanics. You have these turrets, 2 kinds of turrets. These kind will just constantly aim at you and shoot in your general direction. In upcoming levels, we'll also have snipers that shoot a bullet really fast at you after a set amount of time. All right. Often in levels, you will find that you accomplish one thing and a new thing spawns in the level, so you have to go on and then do that.
And also here you might notice that they merge the 2 bodies together. When your soft body and your hard body are together, you get the benefits of both. You can paint walls and you can take damage or hit enemies.
That's right. You merge together most of the time for this run. This is soft game, basically the easiest mode. In harder difficulties, you are not able to merge like this, so you constantly have to manage both bodies at the same time. And they can both get hit and die as well. You can see in a couple places here like this, I will separate so I can accomplish 2 things at the same time and get the level done a little faster.
It's worth noting that the ghost can go through walls here. That's how he got out of the square there.
We have this second kind of turret here that doesn't aim at you, but just constantly spins and shoots really slow-moving bullets. So it kind of creates a wall that you can't really get past. We have to push this orb in the opposite direction of that. You can also slow down your movement by holding the right trigger and have precise movement to really weave in between bullets, as you'll see in later levels. All right. This is the first or second example of these spiral enemies. They're just like the normal orbs that you have to push along their path, but whenever you're pushing them, they constantly spew out bullets at you, so you have to be cautious of what you're doing. They're best handled merged together. So I got this glitch that happens sometimes in this level where you break out of the opening square, and it's actually detrimental because you're usually not expecting it, and you often just bump into one of these enemies. These guys bounce around, and whenever they hit a wall, you can see they spawn a set of 6 bullets.
Now the bigger ones here spawn 8 bullets.
So they're a little bit more dangerous. If I can actually dodge the 6 bullet ones by kind of hiding up against the wall, but the 8 bullet ones would still be able to get them.
Through. The position these guys start in is random too. So you have to kind of anticipate and read what they're doing and have to deal with that. Same thing with these turrets. They start in a random rotation value, so kind of have to figure out where they're at and position yourself so you won't get hit based on that.
So for these square enemies, you have to take out all of the outside squares before you can go through the middle one and defeat it.
You eliminate the kind of shell of the enemy with your main body, and then you defeat the center with your ghost. But if you leave them alone for too long without defeating the center, it'll start moving really fast and shooting a ton of bullets out. So you really want to deal with it as soon as you get the shell off of it. This is the first boss level of the game. It's actually, I consider it the only actual boss. All the boss levels, they're basically just wide open and have a ton of enemies that you have to deal with. Oops. First death of the run. And as you can see, whenever you die, whenever you get hit with your main body, you just kind of start the level over. Pretty fast respawn time, which is fortunate. These small enemies you can see will either move around randomly, and they can get to moving at pretty fast speeds, or generally when they're close to you, they will shoot out a homing bullet at you that moves even faster than they do. All right, so we're on to phase 2 of the boss. You can see the actual boss here. There's 2 of these snakes, and you have to hit each of their weak points 3 times.
Ooh. The bigger black dots along the snakes are what will kill you.
Kind of have to get near the head of each snake in order for it to activate it. There we go. Ooh, right at the end there. Fortunately, you do get a checkpoint here, and now if you do die once, you can see those snipers that were here earlier. Those are gone now. It makes this level a little easier.
And is that something just for the soft game and the hard game? Does that persist, or?
That's true in both soft game and what we call soft game plus. There's actually 4 modes to this game. There's soft game, which is this, where you can merge together and only your main body can die. Soft game plus is the same exact levels as soft game, but with the hard game mechanics, where you cannot merge and both of your bodies can die. Hard game is much harder levels. It really focuses on the controlling, doing 2 different things with each body at the same time. And then there's hard game plus, which is remixed, harder versions of the already really difficult hard game levels. There's 3 chapters to the run, and in between each chapter we have a pretty extended cutscene. So we do have some downtime here if you want to read some donations.
All right, sounds good, Vi. Looks like we have $25 from Lakitu155. Says, cheers to the funny camera action a moment ago, and have a fun run, input, output. We also have $50 from Lonesome Samson saying, hey guys, I love to watch all these speedruns, even the ones I did not know, from all the enthusiastic runners. That's awesome. I can't wait for my favorite runs. It's fantastic the event grows more and more. Great love from Germany, and kill the animals. Thank you so much, Lonesome Samson.
A quick note on this, we're still in the cutscene. As you'll see, we have this kind of weird little section where we have 20 of these bits that spawn. You can collect all of them. They make cool noises. What I actually found out a while after I started running this is this cutscene will always fade out at the same time, regardless of if you collect all of these or you can just sit there and collect none of them. But it's
They
still
make
fun
cool
to go.
noises,
Yeah, it's
so
still
why
fun
not?
to go around and see the shadow effects. All right, so we're about to be in Chapter 2 proper. And we have the first example of these enemies, similar to the ones earlier. These ones shoot a straight shot as opposed to the faster moving square enemies that shoot a homing shot. But they can still be a pain. You'll notice a common theme here with levels that have walls and these sorts of enemies. The enemies can often just sit on top of the wall because they move randomly and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So you kind of just have to wait for them to move so you can paint the wall.
So just to be clear here, the main body is white now and the ghost is black.
Right. The game goes through several color palettes. And it can be hard to tell sometimes what's exactly going on, especially when both your main and ghost body are the same color. That only happens a couple times, fortunately. We have these invincible enemies here where they start out as circles, and when you get within a certain range of them, they turn into triangles and start moving really quickly. Fortunately, they're actually fairly simple to dodge as long as you pay attention to them. And more of the same here. There's that one that spawns partway through the level. For some reason, it activates even when you're super far away from it. Never really understood why. All right. Okay. There's a trick to this level. You may be able to see the dashed outline. It's in a large circle around the orbs that I'm pushing. If you enter this area with your main body, as I just did, this thing in the center starts spawning bullets. But as long as you sit outside it with your main body and only use your ghost, you're pretty much home free.
This is one of the coolest levels, in my opinion.
It really is. I'm just sitting here like.
Yeah, this level really shows off what the game can do with its bullet dodging mechanics.
I think this is the most relaxed I've ever been watching a Toho game.
There we go. It's a fun one. You have the 3 or 4 turrets, and then you have snipers to worry about as well. All right. This next level, there's also a trick too. So you can see right now I'm split up. I have my main body just kind of sitting. I'm using my ghost body to push the orb. This snake will track whichever body it's closest to. So now we have 2 of them. So I can just sit in the center of both of these snakes, and they'll both be stuck on my main body, and I can do whatever I want with my ghost.
So while that little cutscene is playing at the second part of this level, Vi is moving the ghost in those circles, because if you leave the ghost inactive for a second and a half or so, it will teleport back to the main body.
That's right. This is the same enemy as earlier, where if you get within its range, it just spawns a huge wave of bullets.
It's pretty difficult to see, but it's like a very light dotted line, dashed line.
You start out with 1, and then you clear 1 wave of walls, and 2 more appear. Just kind of move very slowly and sneak through when you can. Ooh. So there is a bug in this level at the end of it where if you move into the top or bottom of the screen after the painted walls disappear, you actually get teleported back up like a square's length, and that can sometimes just send you straight into a bullet and you die. May be able to show it off actually, if I'm very careful, or demonstrate it. We'll get over to this side. If I do it on the bottom here, you may not have been able to see. Oh well. This level has another example of where you need to split because your ghost can go through walls, but your main body can't. Basically, you're trapped inside here with your main body. You just have to make sure you're moving along, not getting hit by the turret.
And
Wow.
there you'll also see them using the circling around to stop the ghost body from joining the main body.
That's right.
Generally, they're going to try and wait wherever the orb will come to, just to save a little bit more time.
And right there you saw, since I left my ghost alone, it came right back to me. And there we go. This level's a little tricky because it's the first example of these. As I mentioned earlier, random enemies, they can really be a pain here. So you really want to focus on them first before you deal with the walls. waited out a little bit. Ah, tried to sneak under that bullet.
You just didn't slither hard enough.
There we go. But these guys, in general, they're a lot safer to just take your ghost body and try and get them that way. That one wanted to move away from me. As I said, their direction is pretty much totally random. They will sometimes try and track towards you. And as I mentioned, if they are near you, they're more likely to shoot. But it's never certain, so you really have to read what they're doing and pay attention. This level is a pretty fun one. You can actually, as you just saw, stay in between these lines as long as you're positioned well. So my strategy here is to just sit where it's safe with my main body, use my ghost to push the orb along. It looks really cool when you do it super fast. Alright, go down, about now. And then you just reposition yourself in this square. Come over here. It's actually better to wait to push the orb because of the momentum mechanic with it. If you just sneak by it a little bit, it won't really go anywhere. But as long as you can stay with it for just a second, it'll actually get pushed super far. Which is why I waited there to push it. So now we have the second quote-unquote boss level, even though there's really no boss per se. Alright, I'll try this once. You'll notice right now, all the bullets on screen, they're pretty much going to stay there until they go off screen. And that can be a pretty big pain. You kind of have to deal with that as you're pushing everything along. Worrying about the homing enemy over there. That actually went pretty well. There's a neat little trick you can do if you exit out to the main menu. So I will do it now. You go back to level select, just quickly select the level again. For some reason, now you will notice all those bullets on screen that were giving me trouble earlier, they will disappear after just a few seconds. Just like that.
Oh my gosh.
So now we can just go about our day. I outthought myself there. Sometimes in bigger levels like this, the game can give you a bit of slowdown as well, which seems to be happening. Just something a little extra to deal with. There we go. Okay. Now this last line, and then we're on to phase 2. Things can often look close, but especially if you have a homing bullet or one of these enemies on you, you can just pass a little bit by it, and there's always a set amount it'll curve, so it'll generally just pass you. All right, that's boss 2. I will take a second to give a couple shout outs first to the developer of this game, Zeki Varant. He's a really cool person. When my friend and I started running this, we ran into a bunch of bugs and immediately took to the Steam forums to report them. He took care of a bunch of the issues within like a week, and it was really impressive. Honestly, just indie games in general have incredible support from their devs most of the time, and I'm very pleased because every game I've run, the dev has been right there working with us, It's absolutely incredible. I'd also like to shout out my friend that I mentioned, Umario. He really pushed me to run this game. For a long time, I thought that I would have too difficult a time with it, but he really showed me some strats, did the first run through of it, and got it up on speedrun.com. And so I'd like to thank him for that. It's probably the biggest reason why I'm here today. Other than that, the same kind of cutscenes as earlier, so we have time for a few more donations.
And a few more donations we shall have. We have $100 from Dunlace saying, "Hello, commentator. First-time donator here. Good luck with all the runs and have a nice event. Extra $50 if you pronounce my name correctly. I hope I did you proud." We also have $25 from Jeshuo saying, "These games seem interesting." I'll take the time also to point out that we have passed the halfway mark for unlocking that bonus game of Mega Man X2. Right now we're sitting at about $12,742 out of a $25,000 cap that we need to meet. So keep those donations coming in, guys.
All right. I don't know why, but this cutscene just kind of amuses me. The game really freaks out, especially in Chapter 3. Gives you a hint as to the difficulty that's upcoming. Right. And we are on. Chapter 3 starts out really similarly. Actually, throws some difficulty at you right away. With this level, you paint a series of walls, and each time more snipers spawn in. You actually end up with 6 throughout the whole level. You have to deal with all of these walls, as well as the extremely slow turret in the center, which can be frustrating. Often you'll catch yourself waiting behind a wall of bullets. If you move just a bit too fast, you can accidentally run into them, especially in a corner. But we safely made it through. There's a new mechanic in this level where you have to take out these squares in order with your main body, kind of pushing them along in a line. They're similar to like reverse orbs that you would push with your ghost. And you have to deal with all these rotating lines as you are doing that. There we go. More of the same here with these lines. I grab my ghost, come up, take out this top enemy. Now, if I get a good push on this orb, we can save a quote-unquote cycle here, which I got. You see the center line that spans the entire length of the screen. There's no way to get around it. Ooh, and it almost caught me there. Fortunately, I caught up. So you kind of have to, if you have the orb stuck on the other side of that line, you would have to wait for it to rotate a full 180 degrees. But fortunately, we're able to do that in just a rotation and a half of that center line. So my death right there was just one example of how these guys can be an absolute pain with their random movements. They can move, they can decide to just sit on the wall that you're trying to paint and get in your way. And the homing bullets are not exactly friendly, especially if you get stuck in a corner, as I did. Fortunately, we're through that. I've lost track of my ghost. There you go. Your ghost can actually go off screen and just do its own thing, which can be kind of confusing sometimes. Probably the last new mechanic in the game is these zones. Once you enter them, they activate and they kind of flash a second later. If you're stuck in the zone, when it flashes, you die. There we go.
And you'll notice in the last level, they were just those long lines. Here, we've got some circles that, I mean, you have to go inside in order to paint.
Right, exactly. My strategy here is to paint all the walls first, and then worry about this orb second, because your ghost, if it's stuck in the zone when it activates, it just kind of teleports back to you for a second.
The entire inside of that circle is a death zone.
And here you can see this is probably the worst level in the game as far as RNG is concerned, just with all of the enemies that spawn and having to deal with homing bullets when you are taking out this interesting shape in the center. Fortunately, we got pretty good luck so far. We just have to take out that last wall, and then we'll pretty much be home free. That was unbelievably close. Right, so we move down, finally get our ghost, and then we can seek revenge on these guys for causing us so much trouble. There we go. And we just push this orb along, and that's that. That level's really tough, just because you can get absolutely screwed over. Alright. So we're on to the last few levels in the game now. You'll notice you may not have before, just because I usually focus on them first, because if you leave these spirals alone for too long, they will actually spawn those homing enemies. So you really want to focus on them. Of course, if you want to go fast, the best way to do this level is to push along that orb in the center partway, in between. Which I opted to do. Just gonna move to the right there and make sure I don't get hit. There we go.
Also, can we just take a moment to admire how they just very sneakily went between those two bullets in that wave?
Precision movement is extremely useful when you're trying to do stuff like that. And in Soft Game Plus, remember, since you can't merge, you would absolutely have to do that every time you were dealing with the spiral.
I like the name of this level, Big What?
This is the second to the last level. The theme here is you take out one thing and two more things spawn, so generally the level is supposed to get progressively more difficult. However, I know exactly what activates what. Like that right side circle that I painted activated that shell enemy. So if I do things in the right order here, then everything doesn't activate until the last second, and I can have the easiest time possible with this level. Just have to get this diagonal one and these last few orbs, and there we go. We're on to the last level in the game. This one's a little different than all the rest. We'll have enemies spawning in a random place in the background. There are all these homing enemies that have given me so much trouble already. They spawn in pretty frequently, and if they get close to you, in this level especially, they'll just shoot a homing bullet. So my strategy for the most part here is to kind of hide in a corner with my main body and just use my ghost to do everything. However, of course, that doesn't really work if they're all shooting at you. We got back into a pretty good state.
You seem to be very good at hiding in corners.
This was the level that gave me the most trouble when I first started. By far, I didn't figure out that it'd be easiest just to split up for most of it. Of course, you do get two of these shell enemies that spawn in the end as well. And to do the level as fast as possible, you want to take care of those in between, not save them for the end. I did take a death there, so we'll start doing this pattern all over again. As you can see, the things in the background, the clocks, start spinning faster when there's an enemy is about to spawn there, but the position they're all in is totally random. And the order in which they spawn is also random. All right. So I'll get through this, and then, as I mentioned, this is the last level. Time will be whenever I touch the last enemy, which I will probably leave these shell enemies to be that. One thing you have to be cautious of, you can see these guys that move around really fast are sometimes going off the screen, and they can actually go all the way off the screen and kind of sneak up on your main body. Just another thing to be cautious of. Almost through. few more to deal with, and then I can go get the big guys. All right, we're all set. And so time is coming up very shortly. When I deal with this last one. Time. So that's soft body. I guess gave my shout out, so not much more from me. Thank you again to April and Jeremy Blue for being on the couch.